Recap. My name is Michelle Tate.
And Justin Tate. That's me.
Yeah, we're the only brother-sister duo that takes you on the journey of wrestling throughout the decades.
And boy, oh boy, do we have a good one today. In fact, it is so good and so long that we're not even going to get into the current wrestling today. We are just going to go right in. But I have a surprise for you, Michelle.
Oh, what is it?
Because I knew that we were doing this show today, and I knew that we had to get into the time machine. I dressed appropriately with our WrestleMania 6 t-shirt. Look at that. And if you don't watch the YouTube version, you should, because it's an awesome shirt.
I'm so impressed that you own that. Like, do you have like every WrestleMania like for the next 30 years?
I was at Target like a year and a half ago and saw that. And then a few weeks back, or a couple months back, whenever it was that we covered WrestleMania 5, I was like, oh, I have that shirt. I should wear it. And I pulled it out and went, crap, that's for WrestleMania 6.
Wow. Well, I'm very impressed.
So that's it. I think we can get in the time machine. I'm appropriately dressed now.
Well, now I feel like I look like crap. But anyway, let's get in the time machine. We're here. We made it.
Oh, yeah. My shirt has a weird hole in it now. How did that happen? I don't know.
It got crappier when you went back in time? That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I can't explain it.
Well, let's get into this. So we are covering today WWF WrestleMania 6, The Ultimate Challenge. It was on April 1st, 1990. Man, that takes balls to have an April Fool's WrestleMania. You know,
right? Like how can you believe anything that's happening is true?
I know. It was all a lie. All of it. It was a long lie. We'll get into that. But for our venue, they were at the Sky Dome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So it's our first time out of America for a pay-per-view. Now the Sky Dome is known as the Rogers Center, and it has been the home of many pay-per-views over the years, including the upcoming WWE Elimination Chamber.
Yes, indeed, which is shaping up.
Yeah, and it's crazy how like so many things just happen to time up perfectly with our podcast. It's like we're meant to do this or something.
I think so. I'm glad that we didn't start like 2 months before this. Otherwise, everything would be just thrown off.
It really would. Well, the attendance was, booming. The attendance was 67,678. That is a lot. That is a tongue twister in its own.
And that is a ton of person.
Yeah, it really is. I bet it smelled great in there.
Oh, of course. Wrestling fans they're known for their hygiene.
Oh God, there's this guy that's always at the AEW shows in I can't remember if it's Austin or Dallas, and he always wears sandals and he always has the grossest toenails. It is so nasty.
Great. Well, I've never been to an AEW show, and you just turned me off of them for good.
You just gotta avoid it. But we have our favorite commentators back, Mr. Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura. And the number one song in the US on this day, I swear all of these songs are starting to sound the exact same. I'm just saying. But you ready for it, Justin?
Do it.
Okay. It is Love Will Lead You Back by Taylor Dane. Love will lead you back. I didn't know who Taylor Dane was until she was the guest performer on The Golden Bachelor.
Wow. So they did they just get like a bunch of barrels of names of one-hit wonders and then just kind of this one?
I think so. And what's crazy is one of the contestants, like, because it was actually the Golden Bachelorette. One of the contestants had dated Taylor Dane. That's so weird, right?
Oh, well, that is okay. Well,
yeah.
I must have missed that episode among the others that I missed.
Hey, Golden Bachelor is way more real than the Children Bachelor, but tell me about the background of this WrestleMania, brother.
Yes, as you said, this is the first WrestleMania to be held outside of the United States, and there were so many future wrestling stars in the crowd for this show. Adam Copeland, aka Cope, great name. Christian Cage, Lance Storm, and Renee Paquette were all in attendance at this show. Bunch of Canadians.
Did we see them on camera?
Not that I know of. I think that there is some photo out there of Edge, Adam Copeland, Cope, whatever, in the crowd, like going like, whoa, it's something, but I can't remember if it was from this WrestleMania, but I want to say it was.
I have so many questions. I'm like, were Edge and Christian together at the show?
Probably. I mean, they were friends since childhood, so I would think
Yeah.
so.
Well, that's
But
cool.
there was one dark match on the show where the live crowd was treated to the stellar matchup of Paul Roma defeating the Brooklyn Brawler.
Woo.
Sorry you missed that one, huh?
Right. Well, before we go any further, Justin, we got to have some.
Wrestle stats.
Wrestle stats. Yeah, I know how to do
Yeah.
those. So the average age of wrestlers on this pay-per-view, 35 years old. The youngest, Shawn Michaels, still of the Rockers. He's like the baby of the locker room, 24 years old on this show. The oldest happens to be Sapphire at the age of 55 years old when this pay-per-view happened, if you can imagine that. And let's talk about the overall picture, the big picture. Out of the 215 wrestlers that we have watched on Wrestle Recap, 121 of them are still alive for a percentage of 56.28%.
Oh, yeah, we're still standing. Still standing. We're going to have to
Yeah.
start doing it like maybe over 60% or something.
Yeah, maybe so. It's kind of
Change it up.
hovering right now. But
Yeah.
let's get into the show. Once you pull it up on your Peacock machine, we see a night sky full of stars. I think I just started a Coldplay song. The voice of Vince McMahon upon the examination of the galaxies of space, as opposed to the galaxies of Earth. Images begin to appear. And at that point, we start seeing different constellations. And he keeps going on about the forces of the universe while we see these constellations like a scorpion and a bull and Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. I never learned about these constellations in school. What is happening? What sky are we looking at? The WrestleMania logo flies on screen with that wonderful synthesized WrestleMania theme at the time. And then we get an overhead shot of a truly jam-packed arena as Gorilla and Jesse welcome us and toss things to ring announcer Howard Finkel. So the Fink introduces legendary singer Robert Goulet, who to me looks like that guy from Crook and Chase. Like, I don't remember if he was Crook or Chase, but one of them was a woman, so the other one. Robert Goulet is here to sing the Canadian national anthem while we see videos of beautiful countryside and scenery, which looks suspiciously like the same videos we've seen of the United States on past pay-per-views. So maybe fudging it a little bit there. But we hear some fun entrance music all of a sudden, and we are now off to the first match.
The first match of many. I apologize for my dogs barking. Amazon decided to show up as soon as we started recording because that's how life works, right?
Maybe they were delivering a whole new audience.
Oh, well, we've got a singles match. Coco Beware versus the model Rick Martel. So we saw both these guys last at the Royal Rumble just this year. And guess what, Justin? The ring cart is back. I was so excited to see it, but it got an upgrade. It's got like dark blue canvas and it's bigger and it's got the red, white, and blue ropes.
Yes, I'm telling you, I still want one of these for my house, just to take me to the kitchen to get a Coke and come right back.
Well, you know how like all those white people have random golf carts in their neighborhood and they just like drive their golf cart to go get the mail? It's so weird. I want a ring cart to go get my mail.
I think we should make this happen.
We should. Well, and guess who else is back, Justin? Zeke. I mean Frankie.
Yes,
Bird.
Zeke.
I love how he gets his own little what do you call it? Like a poach? Like a
perch?
A perch. That's what it is.
A poach. You don't want to poach parrots. That's wrong. No. It's a perch.
Justin, I'm brain dead today. You have to know this. But I will say this is the Coco Beware I remember. Like, he doesn't have a painted face this time. His hair is not blonde anymore. This is Coco I remember.
Yeah, it looked a little bit different for Rumble, but I think he decided, change isn't always good.
So Rick Martel, he's on the ring cart and he is spraying himself and kind of the crowd with his new cologne called Arrogance. And it sounds like it's kind of romanticized, right? But it's in this like giant bug sprayer. Like it's huge.
And that's like what I remember about Rick Martel is him always having that big thing full of arrogance. It was like, okay, this is the Rick Martel that I'm ready for.
Right. Well, and then Jesse says if he were to wear the cologne, he would have Rona Barrett crawling at his feet. And I was like, who? Like, who's Rona Barrett? But we will find out later.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And Coco's looking good. Martel, of course, is looking good. He's a model. But Frankie slash Zeke, oh, like those feathers need to be combed. He looked like he pre-gamed the show here a little bit too hard.
Yeah, he was like, Polly wants some crack. Not cracker, crack. That's a good joke. Michelle's funny. Okay, so something in this match got cut out. Like there was a big blackout, or was it just a glitch in the original footage? Did you catch that?
I did not catch that, but hopefully it was the flying headbutts from Coco. And the word flying is in very big quotation marks. He got as much air as a mouse fart.
Mouse part. That's funny. Well, Justin, honestly, this was a very straightforward match. Nothing crazy. Not a lot happened because Rick Martel won this match in 5.5 minutes. And that was it. Listeners, you are going to learn that there are a lot of matches like this one on this show.
Matches that don't mean anything and didn't do much for anybody.
And they were very short, but we got to talk about them. But first, Mean Gene is backstage with the Colossal Collection. However, he refers to them as the Colostomy Collection. Ew, gross. But Bobby then takes it a step further, Bobby Heenan, and he says, if you want to talk evacuation, that's fine because Demolition is headed straight to the treatment plant. And
somewhere backstage, Vince is like, poo-poo.
It really makes me uncomfortable how Vince is so obsessed with poop and Dookie, and then the allegations came out. It's bad. But I filmed at a water treatment plant once for this local comedy show that we used to do, and it was probably the nastiest thing I've ever done. Like I've been to some rough places on Ghost Hunters, but we were basically on a bridge over a giant vat of water, and I saw like turds floating by, condoms, syringes, baggies, everything. It was awful.
Were you at the water treatment plant or were you just walking around in Odessa? Boom!
Boom! Wham!
Felt so good.
Only West Texans will get that joke. It was so bad. And the employees were like, go home and shower, take your clothes off in your garage. I was like, was it safe for me to be here filming this? Like, can I breathe here? What? But anyway, the best part is when Bobby asked Haku and Andre how they're going to treat Demolition. And they say, we're going to eliminate them together. Only they weren't really together. And I'm not even sure if Andre said it in English, but it ended very awkwardly. It was awkward. But it was way louder and like more energetic. And so it was just like, anyway. So Sean Mooney is with Demolition.
Yeah, but they're in the fake locker room with those skinny ass lockers that you couldn't put anything in the payphone hanging off the wall.
Yeah, it looked more like a high school, like in Saved by the Bell. Why do I talk about Saved by the Bell every freaking episode? I swear.
I don't know. We need to show you some new TV shows.
I don't like new TV. I like to live in the 90s. I need my real-time machine. I need to go back. But there's so he's with Demolition, Sean Mooney. I'm getting way too off track. There's some metaphor about how Axe is named Axe because he cuts down trees, aka like Andre, because he's big. And they want to throw Andre in a tractor and drive him off a cliff. And I mean, that seems like a bit much.
Yes, slow down.
I know he's a sick old man, but Demolition is out to demolish and destroy, and they're giving Major Kiss vibes because their tongues have been out for most of the segment and they're red. They just look like Kiss, Timu.
Yeah.
Kiss. Yeah. But take me into my next match, please.
Yes, it is our first title match of the night, a tag team match for the WWF World Tag Team Championship. The Colossal Connection, who are the champions with their manager Bobby Heenan versus Demolition. Last saw all these guys at the Rumble. The youngest of them is Smash at the age of 30, Andre at the age of 43. Now, prior to this match, the Colossal Connection had won the tag team titles from the Brainbusters, who left the WWF shortly thereafter. So that's how we got here tonight.
Gotcha. Cool. I just realized that it's Colossal Connection, and I remember I had typed that, and then I corrected myself. I'm like, no, it's the collection. So I don't know.
Did you call it collection?
I did, and I don't know. Again, y'all, it's been a day, but Haku and Andre don't get an entrance, and I am guessing this has something to do with Andre's health.
I assumed the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Andre didn't look too good, and I mean, Haku really had to do everything. I think
Yeah.
Andre literally got in the ring, threw one punch, and got out at one point.
Yeah,
So,
he was never tagged in the entire match.
yeah, and I might have asked you this before, forgive me, but was the crowd aware of Andre's health situation at the time, or was it kept quiet and then like learned many years later, like after his death?
Yeah, I mean, that's not really the kind of thing that would get out much, back at the time.
Mhm.
I mean, we didn't have I mean, there were wrestling newsletters and such, but they weren't as out there as it is on the internet now. So yeah, they probably had no real firm clue.
Man.
Yeah. Wild to
Mm.
think about. Sometimes a better time too, when you didn't know everything that was happening. But Demolition gets to ride the ring cart, and they're wearing some fresh bondage gear. If you're wondering, you can tell by the lack of stains. So
Oh,
that's
that's
very, very
nasty.
nice. But
Ew.
this match really has something for everybody. Demolition for the bondage fans, and Haku for the foot fetish fans.
Ew, but no one would want those feet. They're nasty. He's barefoot wrestling,
I,
sweating.
I'm just saying, you're into what you're into, okay? Now, at one point, Bobby Heenan slaps Axe across the face, and I thought, well, you idiot! Now there's face paint on your hand, so there's evidence. And right at that moment, Bobby wiped his hand on the ring apron and checked to make sure there was no face paint on there. Brilliant! This is why Bobby Heenan is Bobby Heenan.
Yes, and I feel like okay, and this goes for movies, modern day wrestling, anything. Things were just so much more well thought out back then. Like so much gets skipped now. And like I watch these older movies and I'm like, this was so well planned out. They would never do this today. But oh yeah, props to Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how many times over the years, just a question, have we seen Andre get trapped in the ropes? Like he must love that spot because it happens a lot.
Well, yeah, you just get to chill. I'd love to get trapped in the ropes. It's just holding me up. I'm just chilling, watching everyone wrestle.
Well, with Andre tied up in the ropes, Demolition hits their finisher on Haku, getting the pin. Demolition win the match and the championships in 9 minutes, 15 seconds. But here's the fun part.
Yes.
Post match, Bobby Heenan is ripping Andre a new one, just getting in his face, poking his finger into Andre's chest. And then Andre slaps Bobby and knocks him out of the ring. And then Haku tries to avenge Bobby's pain by super kicking Andre, but Andre catches the foot and tosses Haku out too. So that was a fun moment. Yay, Andre. Bless Bobby Heenan and Haku for selling some pretty substandard hits that whiffed by inches. That's how Andre was at this point, but fun moment.
Yeah, I love that the crowd was going nuts for Andre. And I mean, I don't think I was like, why did Haku turn on him? Because Bobby was kind of like being a douche to both of them. But I guess they had to split the tag team because it was going to be no more.
Yeah.
But I just felt like Haku was a nicer person than that.
Well, I've heard he's a sweetheart until you piss him off, if that helps.
Me too.
Okay, good, good. We're backstage with Mean Gene and Earthquake along with Jimmy Hart. Jimmy is in his custom Earthquake jacket, and Earthquake is making a lot of earthquake references, trimmers, seismographs, on and on. And so to the ring we go.
Yes, let's go. And we've got just a singles match. Doesn't really mean much, but we've got Earthquake with his manager, Jimmy Hart, versus Hercules. We last saw these two guys on the Royal Rumble as well. And oh my God, Justin Tate,
What?
Earthquake's theme song. It answered so many like lifelong questions for me. Okay,
What? What?
everybody.
What were these questions?
I purposefully did not put in the notes what I was going to talk about.
Oh boy.
So there is a home video in my family of Justin doing various wrestler entrances
My
by
my my
himself.
my wife listens to this show, by the way. Just
Hey girl, I'll show you. So, it's Justin. He's like, probably like 11, 10 or 11. And he has set up a camera and he's filming himself and he's coming out of the closet, which is real funny. And so he'll start the music and then he comes out and he pretends to be these wrestlers. So there's like 10 of them or something. And my entire life, I have never known who this wrestler was. with this entrance music. But Justin comes out to Earthquake's music, and he's got this tank top on and a giant basketball as a belly under the shirt, and he's hitting the belly. And I have never known what wrestler that was supposed to be, because the music, it's very it's just kind of like with like some drums to it. There's not like a melody to it, so it was kind of hard. But oh my god, I now know that you were being Earthquake with a basketball in your shirt.
I see what happened is that there was one Justin Tate who was born to this wonderful family, very sweet people and everything, very loving. Something happened to him that they don't really talk about, but they didn't want anybody to know. So they actually got another kid off the black market, that being me, and renamed me Justin Tate. I don't want to tell you my old name because then there'll be Google searches and such. But that kid was the pre-disappearance. So that wasn't like me.
Okay, well, I'm going to say once we get to X amount of subscribers, we're releasing those videos one at a time.
And that's when I delete this account.
Oh,
yeah, I
God.
mean, that Earthquake music, though, it's great because it's just a drum beat with a bunch of rumbling sounds behind it. But it works. It's at that time, that Jim Johnston, Jimmy Hart time, when theme songs were written specifically for a wrestler to their personality and their physique.
It's better than Def Rebel.
Oh, a lot.
Right. Oh, sorry. Hello. I'm lost. Gorilla says that Earthquake has sent 28 men to the hospital. And Jesse says that's typically what happens during an earthquake. There are so many little Jesseisms, Gorillisms during the show that make me laugh. That's the first one.
There are times throughout the show when Gorilla and Jesse are the only thing keeping my attention.
You're not wrong. You are so not wrong. Earthquake, though, is following in the footsteps of his lady wrestler friends because he is straight up in a one-piece swimsuit. Like, straight up. It's not a singlet, it's a swimsuit. And his, for lack of a better term, crotch fat is leaking out. And I swear,
his nard lard.
Oh, did you make that up yourself?
I did just now.
Oh my God, that was so good. Yes.
I don't know if that's a compliment that I've made right now.
Well, I thought it was like maybe a common phrase that I've just never heard. I don't know who's talking about crotch fat, but hey, he got a bikini line wax or something, because there's no way it is that bald.
Oh, no. I mean, look at his hairline on his head. It's the same down there. It's just, it wraps around the back.
If you don't watch the YouTube version of the show, my face just responded to Justin. Well, my favorite part was when Earthquake, he would just start like jumping up and down and like stomping in the ring, and it's like loud and intimidating. It was super cool.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is like classic stuff, and maybe it's just 2020 hindsight, but I really wonder if anybody watching this at the time actually thought that Hercules had a chance, because he's big, yeah, but he also hasn't really proven to be a threat to anybody.
No, and it's sad because, with the chain and everything, like, he seems real intimidating. But yeah, you're right. I feel like his time has kind of passed as the big guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But hey, in this match, what happened to Earthquake? Because all of a sudden there's like blood on his face. And I'm like, oh, but then it's like dripping onto his swimsuit. And so I was like, what happened to him? Because I didn't see him get hit or anything.
He got hungry. And what? He started chewing on his tongue just to, have something to eat.
Well, the Google says he broke his nose.
Okay. Well, he might have broken his nose. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, ouch. Broken noses kill me. But yeah, it was a gusher, everyone. But okay, I lied. The stomping thing wasn't my favorite part. My actual favorite part is when Earthquake and Hercules are like flexing to the audience. And it's funny because Earthquake has no definition, like, at all. Like, in his biceps. There we go. But Gorilla, he goes, a little pose down right there. And I was automatically triggered by that phrase, pose down, because I'd rinsed my memory of that awful, awful time, and it jumped right back.
Yeah. Poor Warrior and Rude, part of one of the worst segments in pay-per-view history. But Earthquake jumps around Hercules' prone body, then sits on his face. I think we should call that the Trimmers and the Teabag, actually.
Right in the mush. Wrong company, wrong commentator, but it's funny. But hey, Earthquake won that match in a quick 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Again, I felt like this match was just kind of it just happened. What did you think of it?
Same. Some of these pay-per-views just seem like a showcase for here's who we got. Take a look. And fortunately, they started to find more focus over the years.
Yes. Well, I've got a novel to read to you next, so get ready. But first, after the match, Earthquake hits an aftershock on Hercules, and then Hercules just kind of gets up and walks off like nothing happened.
I've got it. I've got it. Okay. So it's the Trimmers,
Mhm.
then the Teabag,
Mhm.
and then the Aftercock.
God. I just want to know where the
Because
after.
it's like the Teabag, and then you get the, you know,
Well, where does this tie in with Nard Lard?
it's all connected.
Okay, I'll give you props for that one. I don't always laugh at your jokes, Justin, but I'll give
I
you
know.
props for that one. Okay, so this Rona Barrett, she shows up. I thought it was just some obscure random Jesse reference, but she shows up. She was like a gossip columnist at the time. So like TMZ-ish.
Yeah, like Perez Hilton before,
Ah.
he disappeared.
Yeah, whatever happened to him? But
Mm.
speaking of people that disappeared, Rona Barrett is backstage with Miss Elizabeth.
What?
Yes, we've been wondering where she is, or at least I have. You probably knew, but the ladies exchange compliments like we do. Rona says, Elizabeth, where the hell have you been? Okay, maybe she didn't say it like that, but she basically did. And then Elizabeth says she's been in an advisory position away from the ring in WWF. And I'm like, advisory? Like, who the hell is taking advice from Miss Elizabeth? Like, quote, like, do the pink curtains look better or the yellow? I like the yellow. That's the extent of her advice she should be giving.
Earthquake was getting bikini wax advice from her, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
hashtag callback.
Yeah.
She said, Miss Elizabeth, that is, said that she didn't want to disappoint the fans because she couldn't help enough in the matches. And I was like, okay. But she says she's thinking about returning to the ringside, and if she does, she will be way more active. So good for
Oh
her.
boy.
Yeah, well, Sean Mooney made me laugh here. We go to him, and he's with Brutus, and he goes, "Brutus, the barber beefcake, what are you doing?" Like, it was so like, I don't know, like cartoony the way he said it. But Brutus says he's studying Mr. Perfect's record. And I don't know what there is to study since he's perfect. I mean, it's pretty clear. But Sean is holding up the paper as Brutus whips out his giant clippers and starts like chopping at the paper. Only the paper didn't cut at all. So, like, so much for those clippers looking, cool or anything. But yeah, it goes right into the next match.
All right. And it is the two guys we just talked about, Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Mr. Perfect with the Genius. Last saw these guys on Rumble 90, and they are both 32 years old here.
Hold up. I thought we were done with the Genius.
Oh, no. Oh, no. We're done with him in the ring, but we're not done with him.
He was standing in the ring, Justin.
You know what I mean, you petulant child.
I'm petulant because I'm tired of him, but Gorilla says he doesn't like the Genius either, so I feel validated.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we finally have Mr. Perfect's theme song. He has the singlet, the towel, the music. Lex Luger, step aside. This is the total package in my mind.
I agree, man. He's looking good. I'm glad we have his music. It's not the weird Peacock shoe-in song, but Jesse says it looks like Brutus chopped away half of the material of his outfit. And I feel that, Jesse. It's true.
Yeah. So why didn't Brutus wear tights that were striped like a barber pole? Like, that just seems to be an obvious thing. Red, white, and blue striped tights.
You would think maybe because he'd look kind of like a candy cane or something. I don't know.
That
I don't
could
know.
be. That could be.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Perfect in this match, he's selling like a crazy man. Like, it almost looks kind of goofy, but it works.
It reminded me of Dolph Ziggler. how Dolph Ziggler would sell,
Yeah.
which a lot of people always compared him to Mr. Perfect. So it works.
I can totally see that. Well, they cut to the most random celebrity guest in the crowd, Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, man. Nick at Night, Mary Tyler Moore show was my every night show.
Did you have a crush on her back in the day?
No,
No? She was too
no.
old?
Uh, I don't know. Now, Ted Baxter. Now he was a hottie. Let me
Oh,
tell you.
big time.
Yeah. Well, the genius hops up on the apron here and drops his metal scroll behind the referee. So Perfect picks up the scroll and nails Brutus with it. Brutus goes down. He's out dead. This felt like the finish, but it wasn't, which was really surprising.
I know. I was really surprised by that too. Um Jesse is so me. Like he's so me. So Brutus started off the match pretty dominant, right? And then Mr. Perfect takes over. And Gorilla says, the pendulum has turned around a full 360. And I had this thought. And then Jesse says, it's a 180 because if it were a 360, the pendulum would have been back where it started, Gorilla. I was like, I was totally thinking that. Thank you, Jesse.
Yes. Thank God for Jesse Ventura. Well, Brutus, he slingshots Perfect into the ring post for the pin. And I was like, really? Like that's the finish. The match ends in 7 minutes and 48 seconds, but a slingshot into the ring post is what gives Perfect a loss here.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because I was like, dang, Mr. Perfect got his first loss from Brutus. Like, Brutus must be the best in the world,
You know,
especially with that go to sleep and all.
I know where you live. I know
Do
that it takes
something.
about 7 minutes to get from here to there. Anybody watching on YouTube right now could witness me leaving the frame and 7 minutes later entering Michelle's frame with some implement, probably like a pickle,
A
and
pickle.
whacking her over the head with it.
A pickle out of all things.
I don't want to hurt you. But, post-match shenanigans ensue, which leads to Perfect escaping to the safety of the ring cart while Brutus locks in the sleeper hold on the Genius, taking off his graduation cap and revealing the awful haircut the Genius received at the Royal Rumble. So what does Brutus do? He cuts even more hair off. And somehow, because of how bad the original haircut was, this is an improvement.
Right? Well, supposedly there was something like about this. Like the Genius wasn't aware that they were going to cut his hair again. And like that's why he was legit trying to get away from him. And then it made like Randy Savage mad that they cut his hair again. Have you heard anything about this?
I've not. What I do know is like a lot of times when they would do something like that, like cutting somebody's hair or something like that, Vince would give them some extra money for the night. So, I mean, maybe he got compensated for it somehow. But backstage, we get Steve Allen himself. For those who don't know, Steve Allen was the first host of The Tonight Show. And then from there, I went to Jack Parr, then Johnny Carson, then Jay Leno, then Conan O'Brien, then back to Jay Leno, then to Jimmy Fallon, who ruined it. Anyway, Steve Allen is at a piano in the shower, coming up with songs that the Bolsheviks could use as their national anthem. Lots of stuff that's just making fun of Russia, which pisses off the Bolsheviks. But I kind of found it funny and like that old time goofy humor kind of way.
Yeah, it was. It was very uncharacteristic of WWF at this point. I felt like if we would have seen this on an NWA WCW, God, I can't talk, WCW show, it would have made more sense. But I liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And I think we should say that there is a next match in the lineup. Go ahead, Michelle. Just go ahead.
Yeah, so there was some backstage promo stuff too, supposedly. But if you're watching this on the old Peacock machine, you're not going to see that promo and you're not going to see this next singles match. And it was funny because I knew it was on the show. And then after when I came to type in my notes, I was like, hold up, I didn't see that match. Like, did I black out? Like, where did that match go? And I texted you, were like, nope, didn't see that either. So the match was supposed to be a regular singles match between Bad News Brown and Rowdy Roddy Piper. The match stemmed from the Royal Rumble when Roddy eliminated Bad News Brown, and then Bad News, pulled Roddy out of the ring and they brawled all the way up to the aisle. However, this match was cut from the old Peacock machine because Roddy was in half blackface.
Yes. Well, his whole body actually was half black,
Yeah,
including
that's what I
his
meant.
face. Yeah.
Yeah. So that match, it ended in a double count out in 6 minutes and 48 seconds. So I would say we're gonna see this again, but maybe we're not gonna see it. Yeah, so that match happened on this show, but we did not see it. It has been scrubbed from the Peacock. Do you agree with that decision?
Yeah. I mean, overall, yeah. There's like the artistic side of me that says, no, everything is presented in its full form. But then there's like the adult, reasonable business person in me that goes, yeah, get rid of that. No.
Yeah, from a business perspective in 2025, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I just wonder like what's going on in wrestling right now or, 10 years ago that in 30 years are going to be like that was awful, So it's kind of
Um,
like
the Mimosa Mayhem match, actually,
no,
that will no longer be.
that was incredible, Justin. That was hysterical because that's when AEW was like grabbed my heart because I was like, they're not taking themselves too seriously. I love this. But I've got nothing for the post match because the match didn't happen. So let's just go back to those Russians in the Heart Foundation. How about that?
Yes, it's a tag team match, the Bolsheviks and the Hart Foundation. And interesting thing here, so we last saw Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart on Rumble 90. We've not seen the Bolsheviks wrestle in a match since Survivor Series 1988, about a year and a half before this. That's interesting. The Hart Foundation music hits, and instantly, I'm a kid again. That music comes on, I'm just like, okay, hand me my Lucky Charms, sit me on the floor, my PJs, I'm happy.
I think you not only had an entrance video in those home videos, you might have given a whole promo as Bret Hart.
So this match was really short, very, very short.
Speaking of kids, though, he puts his sunshades on this kid on the front row, and that kid's so excited, like, as I would be. But, like, okay, this is probably gonna, like, ruffle some feathers, some Zeke feathers, but I hate how they always waste those moments on the kids because I'm like, adults like to be happy too. Like, they need a boost in life way more than kids do.
Yeah. Well, kids need a boost because they're short. You see, you gotta, because they can't,
Heyo.
But anyway, on the flip side, the Bolsheviks enter on the ring cart to no music. And boy, is it awkward.
Yeah.
Like they should have put Steve Allen's piano on another ring cart. So at least there was like something there. But man, this entrance was awkward.
It really was. And then we go back to the Russian anthem, national anthem. I was like, I thought we left this in like Starrcade 85.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it does not last long.
Squash alert.
Yep. The Hart Foundation attacks the Bolsheviks during the Russian national anthem, and this match is over in 19 seconds with the Hart Foundation coming out on top.
Good. They should.
Yeah. I was actually thankful that they did that, but I didn't feel cheated at all, actually.
No.
But hey, an advertisement for WrestleMania 7 a whole year in advance. That's impressive for this time. It's going to be at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Or is it?
What does that mean?
Let's get into our next match. It's a singles match. The Barbarian with Bobby Heenan versus Tito Santana. Last saw both of these guys at Rumble 1990. Once again, a no music ring cart entrance, this time for the Barbarian and Bobby Heenan. Like, seriously, it's 1990. Can we at least get these guys a boombox to carry on their way down?
Part of me wonders if there was like an issue technically like with the sound, because why did they not have music like these two matches? And then I don't know. But
I don't know.
Tito has music because Jesse says that Tito's music sounds like a song he heard in a Mexican strip club. And I was like, that gives me Dusk Till Dawn vibes, like, which I just saw for the first time like a year ago. But yeah.
But why did I watch that?
I think it's because we did an episode on it on Boo You Whore,
That's why
podcast.
I watched it. Yes.
Yes. And you, like me, we had both never seen it. And so we had to watch it so that you would know what the heck I was talking about all episode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I going back to Tito's music here, it's weird because it doesn't sound like Mexican music.
No.
Like it sounds more Cuban, right? But there's a sexy saxophone in there, so we'll let it slide. It's fine.
Yes.
Jesse also asked Gorilla if he's ever eaten one of Chico's enchiladas. He says, "You won't be normal for a week." So much poop humor. I'm sounding it out. Poop humor on this show. I did it.
It reminds me of because we used to have a restaurant here called El Chico.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I miss those enchiladas.
There's actually a mall near here that has an El Chico still.
Where?
Abilene.
Really?
They have an El Chico in the Abilene Mall.
Is it the same, same El
It's
Chico,
the
like the same
same.
people?
It's the
We gotta
same.
go. Cool.
Yeah. But clothesline off the top for the win. Very boring. The Barbarian wins the match in just about 4.5 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question, and this question can apply to a lot, but what was the point of this match?
If I knew, I probably would have been more excited about watching it.
Yeah, because there wasn't anything building up. I feel like they could have swapped out. They should have had Tito versus Rick Martel versus Coco Beware and freaking Barbarian. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. There's too much on the show. There's just too much.
Yeah.
But we get a recap of what led to the upcoming match. Then Sean Mooney is in the fake locker room with Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire. And Dusty says they aren't pretending to be a king and queen, baby. But they do have the crown jewel.
Well, that brings us to our next match, which is a mixed tag team match, intergender, folks. It is Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire with Miss Elizabeth versus Queen Sherry and Macho King Randy Savage. Man, when I'm typing my notes, there's 3 different guys. There's Macho King, Macho Man, and Randy Savage, and then there's just Savage. I had to get some continuity going here. But yeah, so let's talk about Sapphire a little bit because we haven't talked about her yet, in an official capacity because she has not wrestled until now. So Miss Sapphire, she was born on October 24th, 1934. Goodness. I think that's the oldest person we've had yet. Wow.
Maybe so.
She died on September 11th, 1996 at the age of 61. And she was actually 55 years old on this pay-per-view, as you mentioned earlier. So, yeah, the last pay-per-view we'll see her wrestle on is this one. This is it. This is it for her. But her real name was Juanita Wright. And she was actually the first woman to get a wrestling referee's license in the state of Missouri before wrestling on her first wrestling her first match at the age of 42 as Princess Dark Cloud. I love it. After leaving the WWF later in 1990, she didn't really do much in the wrestling business, aside from a short run in Jerry Lawler's USWA in Memphis. That was about it. But as for these other folks, we've seen them before. So let's get into the match. This is the first match that we've seen involving women since the Royal Rumble in 1989. And Howard Finkel says that this is the first mixed tag team match in WWF history.
Which, I mean, that could be.
Yeah.
I don't know, but interesting if so.
I mean, it's definitely the first on pay-per-view. We can vouch for that. But we do learn that the ring cart does have the ability to adjust speed. And it's funny because when Tito and the Barbarian were on it, that thing was zooming to the ring. And for this match, it's extra slow. I don't know if that's the added weight of 2 people. I don't know. But
yeah, no, I noticed that it was, especially during Savage and Sherry's entrances, come on.
I know. I was like, did the motor give out and there's 2 little men under there just pushing it? God, it was so slow. But when Macho Man and Sherry come out in the ring cart, Jesse says, Harry and Leona never looked better. Please explain, because I don't get it.
So Leona Helmsley was a business tycoon, multi-million, probably billionaire, who back around this time, it was found out she had not been paying her taxes for years. So she actually went to prison for tax evasion. And so it was a big thing in the news at the time.
Okay. So then Jesse says, the good thing about them, they pay their taxes. And I was going to ask you, what am I missing here? Okay, I
Yep,
understand
it
now.
was a whole thing in the news at the time. But this is also the first time that we've seen Randy wearing a jacket with those long streamers that go down to his knees. And again, like my inner child is happy. When I picture watching Savage as a child, I see those streamers coming down from his jacket.
Me too. You should get one and wear it. I guarantee you it would catch on.
I would be willing to bet that one of the country western stores around here probably sells it.
It's probably in the women's section.
It might be. That's okay.
Probably. Well, man, Dusty's forehead is looking like super bruised, but Sapphire, she is getting it in the ring cart. She's dancing. She getting it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was actually throwing that ring cart off track a little bit too. If you notice, like it was kind of like wobbling a little bit. It's like, don't move so much, damn it. But
I didn't notice that.
yeah, but when they showed a dot matrix banner, I love the dot matrix signs in the crowd. This one is long and it just says Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire. But they forgot to rip the little sides off of the banner with the little holes in them. And like how they could have forgotten such a hidden pleasure of the 90s is beyond me.
Me neither. Oh man, I want to see if I can buy some dot matrix paper on Amazon just to do that. Just
It's
to
like how
pull
people
those
buy
little-
bubble wrap just to pop it.
Yes, we can make like ASMR videos. It'll be great. Speaking of signs, there was a sign in the audience that read "Sapphire is a gem," which is funny
Ah.
because of like double meaning and all. But they spelled sapphire wrong.
Oh,
They spelled it SAPHIRE. There was not two P's. But I guess they did not have spell check back in the 90s. But you shouldn't even need spell check for that. Sapphire is indeed a gem.
just sap fire. That's all you need. That's all you
Zap higher.
need.
Well, dang, Miss Elizabeth is back. Everyone comes out to the ring, and then the ring cart comes back one more time with Miss Elizabeth, and she is there to support Dusty and Sapphire. So she was the crown jewel?
Yes, yes. And you know what? I kind of dug this. Just thinking way too deeply about it, as I often do about, well, everything. Like when you've broken up with somebody, right? And then you're out with your new person, but then like your ex shows up there too, like walks in the door, and it's just like that weirdest feeling, like, oh man, like what is this bull? So, like in a way, I kind of felt for Randy here.
But were they actually married at this point? Because I know in the earlier days, like they were just like dating in real life, but they weren't married yet.
Well, they were married.
Oh, they
Yes.
were.
Yes, they've been married pretty much this whole time we've been doing this, but they were never portrayed to be married on camera.
That's what it
right?
was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, and it wasn't even said that they were a couple on camera. That's just what we all assumed. Right.
Right.
So, I just kind of liked how this all kind of played out on that level of things.
Yeah, man. And Elizabeth was looking hot. It reminded me, this is so goofy, like her outfit and her whole look. You know, in Pee Wee's Big Adventure, when they make the Pee Wee movie and Dottie's like super hot in it, that's
Yeah.
what she was dressed like, that jumpsuit thing in the hair. It was awesome. But hey, every man needs a woman like Sapphire in their life because she put herself between Dusty and Macho Man to protect Dusty. Like, that takes balls, man. And so, yes, Elizabeth, you weren't helping enough. You disappointed me as a fan because you need to be more like Sapphire.
Agreed. Agreed.
Agreed.
Well said. Here,
Thank-
here.
Thank you.
So many uncomfortable comments about Sapphire's weight here, huh? Like from both Gorilla and Jesse. Gorilla says that Sapphire bulked up for this match. And I was like, oh, God. Jeez,
Yeah.
Gorilla. And then the camera also moved behind Sapphire's butt at one point. And Jesse says, any angle but that one. Any angle but that one. Tell that cameraman to move around to something else. I was like, good God.
It pissed me off straight up because you know what? Sapphire was, again, a gem. She was so liked. I mean, it's not even like she was a heel. Like, what the early 90s and that's the one part of the 90s I don't miss, you know?
Yeah.
But hey, intergender matches where they actually wrestle the opposite gender are amazing. And they need to make a comeback because now we'll have a mixed tag team, but it's always like the women fight the women, the men fight the men. And like, there's like an almost clothesline to a woman. Then it's like, whoa, No,
Mhm.
I need it back like this because it was a lot of fun.
I remember, I think it was during the Thunderdome era, and it was like Seth and Becky Lynch against Baron Corbin, and I forgot who was on the other side. And Baron ended up hitting a move on Becky Lynch, and it was like, whoa, like we
That's
haven't seen that in forever. It was a big deal.
That's why Baron/Tom is one of my best friends because he does stuff like that. But hey, Elizabeth finally did do something. She made her promise she's going to become more active in the ring. So she threw she back in the ring,
I'm sorry,
meaning
what?
in my notes I typed SHEEEI. Didn't correct
Hmm.
myself, and so I'm guessing she threw Sapphire back in the ring.
Oh, no, no, no. I remember this. She threw Sherry back in the ring so that
Sherry!
Sapphire could pin her. That's what it was.
And that makes sense because it looks more like Sherry than Sapphire. Okay, makes sense. Well, Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire won that match in 7 minutes and 31 seconds despite her weight, Gorilla and Jesse.
Yes, yes. And I do want to say here, Sherry, completely underrated and forgotten about at times when she should not be.
I agree with you because when I watched her episode of Dark Side of the Ring, I had never even heard of her. And I've been
Mhm,
watching wrestling, since like 94,
mhm.
when I was 4 years old. And so it's amazing because usually on those episodes, it's like I've heard of them, but I just don't really know. So yeah, I agree with you fully.
And I feel like, I mean, it was almost like she was too good for her time because I think out of all the women we've watched so far, she's
Oh,
been the best in the ring. She's been the best personality. And if you would have like picked her up out of history and plopped her down right now, oh my God, she'd be killer.
oh yeah, totally. And again, we were talking about how we haven't seen a women's wrestling match on these shows since like 88 or 89. Like it just wasn't a thing. So, I mean, yeah, it was cool to like feature her with Macho King and whatnot, but I agree. She needed to at least come like 10 years later, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after the match, Macho King tries to attack Dusty, but Dusty now has the scepter? Is that what you call that thing?
Yeah.
The I will
Scepter.
knight you. Okay. Yeah. Dusty threatens to hit Macho King with it, but he nopes out of there. He's like, "Nope, I'm not going to get hit." So Dusty, Sapphire, and Miss Elizabeth continue to dance in the ring. And honestly, Justin, this is the first time I think I've seen a genuine smile on Miss Elizabeth's face.
Yeah, she actually seemed to be having fun. I mean, she still danced like your mom dancing to Crisscross at the 1993 school dance. But I mean, it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, like Sapphire was like talking to her, nodding, and she was just kind of laughing. It was nice to see Miss Elizabeth like seem real, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Um, Jesse is just so angry about this match because they're dancing and celebrating, and he's still like just bitching about the match. And why? Like, was it really because like he didn't like women or like being in wrestling or Sapphire's weight? Like, what was it?
I think he's just being a heel. He got sick of all this fun stuff with Dusty and Sapphire and that traitor Miss Elizabeth. And yeah.
That's true. Well, Mean Gene is backstage with Bobby Heenan, and he says that the members of the Heenan family are falling like the Berlin Wall and that Bobby is tougher to get along with than a mother in law.
What?
Oofed.
What?
But
I get along with my mother in law just fine.
hey, she's so cute. Your mother in law is the cutest thing in the entire world. And I love her aunt. Not her, yeah, you know what I mean.
Right. Yes.
But I will always say our spouses are so freaking lucky to have our mom as a mother-in-law. Like we're the best in-law family ever.
I mean, I'm probably on the low end of that scale.
Oh, I thought you meant like mom's not a good mother-in-law. I was like, I'm gonna
No.
tell her. Well, long story short, Bobby says Andre's dumb and lazy, and he decides he wants new members that will actually listen to him. Then Gorilla and Jesse are back with Rona Barrett, and she says that she has incriminating video of Jesse of the adult variety. Uh-oh, like was
Mm,
he named in the lawsuit?
I
Oh.
highly doubt it.
Heyo. Well, Sean Mooney is with the Macho King and Sherry, and like, whoa, they need to use this segment in those "Do Not Do Drugs" kids videos because Sherry is screeching, running around, losing her mind. She is
Yeah,
on meth.
Sherry is like pacing back and forth in the background like a glitchy NPC in a video game. Just like, I don't know how to. Oh, hello, I don't know how to, hello, I don't know how.
And I mean, she looks like she's on meth. She's just like, showing her teeth and everything. She is
Uh,
pissed. But Sean Mooney says that Macho King got more than he expected. And Macho Man surprisingly agrees with that and says that suffering builds character and that Dusty is going to be building a lot of character. He then says the crown jewel doesn't exist. And I'm like, oh, cool. If the crown jewel doesn't exist, does that mean we don't have to have the Rumble in Saudi?
oh God, please. Yeah.
Wham! Please. Oh, that pisses me off so bad. Anyway, Mean Gene is with the new tag team champions, Demolition, and it seems they have their sights set on the Hart Foundation.
But they should have their sights set on a shower because it's been over an hour and they're still covered in glitter and sweat. What have they been doing?
I think it's just their skin now. They're the Twilight vampires. It's just ingrained in their skin at this point.
They're probably eating more cherry sours so their tongues will stay red.
Oh my God, I love cherry sours. We used to get those at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah, along with the popcorn bucket that was an empty bucket, and then you just take the plastic off and it becomes a full one in the microwave. So good. Well, Jesse and Gorilla recap the night, and Gorilla tells Jesse that he actually watched, quote, the video that Rona was referring to, and that it wasn't anything. Typical WWE sweeping the incriminating sexual stuff all under the rug.
This is where it all started. Dang it, Jesse.
Dang
or
it,
Gorilla.
Jesse. Oh, no, we all know it was Jesse. Well, Mean Gene is with Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan's talking about like hovering over the Sky Dome. What? Like, I don't know. Basically, like everyone else, he just says that he's winning tonight, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It's what kind of winner you are and what kind of loser you are. And he hopes the Ultimate Warrior is a good loser. And I'm like, oh, that's cute coming from Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, well, how would Hogan know?
Right? He's like the worst loser ever. Oh, wait, he never loses. But Sean Mooney tries to interview the Ultimate Warrior, but the Ultimate Warrior just like shoves Sean out of the frame. It was funny. But he, on the other hand, he says he didn't come to destroy Hulkamania. Like, he wants the Hulkamaniacs and the Warriors to join forces. And I don't know. He starts using a lot of double negatives here. And from that point, I was out.
If you want to join forces, why not make a tag team? Anyway, I think I got what he's saying here. If Hogan wins, he gets all of Warrior's fans. And if Warrior wins, he gets all of Hogan's fans. So 90s reference, it's like Pogs.
Well, you can't make fans be fans of you all of a sudden. That doesn't work.
You have to be assimilated to be a warrior.
I'm sorry, that was way too clear. I could tell what you said. That was not Ultimate Warrior. And then finally, we get back to the ring.
Yes, let's do it. It's a tag team match. That means absolutely nothing. The Orient Express with Mr. Fuji versus the Rockers. So that does mean something because we get to see Sean. So that's cool. Last saw the Rockers, of course, at Rumble 90, but we've never seen the Orient Express before. So let's get into them just real quick. First off, you have Sato. He was born February 13th, 1953, still with us today at the age of 72, although on this pay-per-view, he was 37 years old. The final pay-per-view we're going to see him wrestle on Wrestle Recap is Survivor Series 90. So later on this very same year. Real name, Akio Sato. Along with Giant Baba, he actually co-founded All Japan Pro Wrestling. And upon coming to the U.S. from Japan, he wrestled like truly all over the place. Central States Wrestling, CWA, AWA. He was all over the place. His tag team partner in the Orient Express, Tanaka, or Pat Tanaka, as he'd later be called, born on August 5th, 1961. He's also alive today at the age of 63. And on this pay-per-view, he was 28. We're going to see him for a while. He's going to pop up here and there, not a ton. The final time we're going to see him actually is on WCW Great American Bash 1996. Real name, Patrick Tanaka. No surprise there. But he's the son of wrestler Duke Keomuka, which I didn't even know that was his son. So I learned something here today. He bounced around all over the U.S. wrestling scene before settling in North Dakota, where he now runs a wrestling school. How about that?
I'm sure it is the only wrestling school in North Dakota, probably.
Quite possibly. Yes, quite possibly. You know what? I swear they have used this Orient Express entrance music for multiple Japanese guys over the years.
I agree with you. I was thinking, I was like, is this just like a canned Japanese music thing that they just use for everybody? Because I swear we've heard it before.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to think like who have we heard this music on before? Because I know we'll hear it again with somebody else. But
Was it the Jumping Bomb Angels?
you know what? It might have been.
It kind of
It
feels
might
like
have
it.
been.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, the Rockers, nonsensical as hell, they're on the ring cart. Like out of all the guys on this show, they're the tag team that could have run down the aisle.
Especially because Sean's only 24. He's a baby. He can do
Yeah,
it.
like run his ass out there. It's not like telling Earthquake, oh, you're only 26, run down the aisle. No, it's Shawn Michaels. He's 24. Get your ass down there.
Hell yeah. Well, early in the match, Mr. Fuji bends over Janetti and like smacks him on the back with his cane. And Tanaka like kind of ushers away Janetti, looking at Mr. Fuji like, are you insane, you jerk? Like, it was very funny. Did I read that situation wrong?
You may have I'll be honest, at this point in the show, I didn't even remember Fuji getting involved. I was just like, another one that means nothing.
Yeah,
But
it was rough.
the crowd's tired too. Like Fuji's heel moves aren't getting a reaction. The Rockers aren't getting a huge reaction for anything, not even their entrance. It's like it's time to call it a night here.
No, but we got a lot more coming.
Yeah.
But I got a question. Why is everything like the Express, like Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, Orient Express? Like, I feel the term express indicates like it's a travel locomotive, like a train or like a fast coffee place or something. Like, what was up with this?
Yeah, I don't know. All it made me think of is that there's an Orient Express Lego set that I really want to get, and then I just got focused on that in my brain. And yeah, I
Wait,
don't know.
wait. There's an Orient Express Lego set?
The train, not the tag
Oh,
team.
got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, what the
Sato and
hell?
Tanaka in Lego form. Yeah.
That's why I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Okay.
By the way, Sean, leave your waistband alone. It's fine.
It's a nervous tick.
Anyway,
I get it.
the match ends when Marty goes to the outside to chase Mr. Fuji, but Sato throws salt in Marty's eyes. Sean goes out to check on Marty, and the referee hits the 10 count. Orient Express wins the match via countout in 7 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yes, they did.
That's all
I got to say about that.
Yeah. Well, Steve Allen is backstage with the new tag team of Rhythm and Blues, and it's the Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine with black hair. What?
Debbie Lynn went to the salon.
Yeah, Steve Allen does more comedy shtick with these two, comparing them to other singers. This part, not as funny as the last part with Steve Allen. So let's go to the ring.
Let's do it. Once again, we've got a singles match, and it is Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart, but he's also got Earthquake with him. And I'm like, didn't he break his nose? But he is fighting Hacksaw Jim Duggan tonight.
Yeah.
Amazing. We love them. But hey, man, this is the older guys match because Dino Bravo was 41 at this point and Jim Duggan's 36. But
yeah,
dude, Dino's starting to get that Grease look. And what I mean is Grease is in the movie because it's like his gimmick or like his look. I don't know. There's some of them that it's a 40-year-old playing a 20-year-old.
Yeah. And it's weird because like looking at him, you can't tell how old he is.
Yeah, it's like Grease, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, Hacksaw rides the ring cart to no music. And it's like, he had music. It was great music. When the hell are we going to hear this great music?
Something was up. The sound guy sucked. The equipment was faulty. I don't know because I mean, obviously it works sometimes, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Well, Gorilla mentions Earthquake not having a manager's license. And like, what the hell is a manager's license? Like, was that a thing?
That was a thing. That was a real thing. There was licenses to be everything: a referee, a manager, a wrestler, and it had to do with the whole sports gaming commissions back then, which were all scams pretty much.
I was going to say, like, I understand a ref and a wrestler because it takes like a skill, but like a manager, I mean, yeah, like Jimmy Hart gets in the ring, but like a manager's more of like a business mind. So,
Right.
or an actor. So I don't know. Just thought those were, but yeah, it's probably a scam just so that people can get paid, for a license, a
Yeah.
certification. But hey, is Hacksaw looking a little thicker or am I crazy?
Are you saying his 2x4 is now 2x5?
No, because that makes it sound dirty. I'm talking like his
Okay. Okay.
belly.
Yeah. Nah, he's maybe a little thicker. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not hating. I mean, I'm almost 36 and my belly's definitely bigger than it was 10 years ago. So,
Definitely
um,
bulked up for this match like Sapphire.
ugh, ugh. You can really hear Jimmy Hart during this match. Yeah, the crowd is tired.
Yeah, yeah, no, you can hear me. But you do have to admire his commitment, right? Like he
Yeah.
has yet another jacket that's themed after Dino Bravo. And the great thing is, nobody told him to get all these different jackets. Like that's all him. That's all his idea. And it's probably even at his own expense. So you got to love Jimmy.
Oh, I love him. Like when Hulk Hogan came here to the grocery store to promote his beer, I was like, I'm not going to that. Like, I don't want to meet Hulk Hogan. But then my friend was there and sent me pictures. He's like, Jimmy Hart's here too. And I was like, gosh, dang it. I wish I would have gone. Like, man. But I think he might be at Squared Circle Expo probably
Oh,
when we
cool.
go. I think so.
Cool.
Supposedly he just goes to everything, whether he's booked or not. So that's
Oh,
good.
well, that makes sense. He has a megaphone. So what are they going to do? Let me in, baby.
Exactly. And who's gonna say no? He's
Right,
a
exactly.
legend. So Jesse, I'm always like in agreement with Jesse, but we are not on the same page about this because he says, I just plain don't like Hacksaw. He's just ugly. Oh, how do you not like Hacksaw Jim Duggan? And he's not ugly.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, there was just a couple of seconds of silence after that, and Gorilla quietly says, "I don't think he's ugly."
Oh, I love Gorilla. I didn't catch that.
Well, I'll tell you, Jesse and I are on the same page about one thing. He asked why Duggan would carry an American flag to the ring in Canada, which I was like, yeah, that was kind of dumb, right? And you can also tell that Duggan gave up on the USA chants way early into the match and just went with, ho.
It's true. And by the way, ever since we started this podcast, anytime anyone like gives a zinger like in my life, I go, ho, just like him.
Well, on top of that, Dino Bravo is Canadian. So, like, I'm not really sure that they thought out the dynamics of this match being in Toronto.
Yeah. Cause I mean, Jim Duggan, he wins this match in 4 minutes and 15 seconds flat. But hey, I'm okay with it. I will always be glad when Jim Duggan gets that win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Earthquake attacks Hacksaw after the match with 3 earthquake splashes.
Oh, that's 2 aftercocks.
I don't know if this is going to catch on, Justin. I just don't know.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
Well, next, they recap Ted DiBiase and Jake Roberts' feud. Basically, they had dissension between them because Ted had attacked Jake after Jake was giving away Ted's money. DiBiase told him to come get this $1 million belt, and Jake attacked him and picked up the belt and like gave a long dramatic gaze into the crowd. So like that's what set this up. So Mean Gene is backstage with Jake Roberts, and he says that this is the biggest match of DiBiase's career because it's all on the line. DiBiase also has to get through both Jake and Damien. Ooh. So Jake wants to humble and humiliate DiBiase as DiBiase has treated people horribly in the past.
Yeah. And this promo was absolutely amazing. Like, we've talked about how Jake has that quiet intensity. He doesn't have to yell. And I remember that the famous wrestling documentary Beyond the Mat, when they were about to go show what Jake is doing these days, they showed like a whole montage before that of his younger days. And they used this clip specifically to show just like awesome Jake Roberts was. So if you watch nothing else on the show, you can snooze through most of it. Watch Jake's promo. It's so good.
There's another part you have to watch too, but you probably already seen it. We'll get to that later. But to the match we go.
Yes, it is a singles match for the $1 million championship, which was not actually like a recognized title in the WWF. It was DiBiase's own belt that he brought in, kind of like the FTW championship for Taz in ECW, that sort of thing. But it is Jake the Snake Roberts versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, with Virgil, of course. Last saw both of these guys on Rumble 90, and DiBiase has his theme music with the laugh at the beginning and the money, money, money. But he shouldn't have taken the ring cart down. He should have ridden on Virgil's back.
Yeah, like, oh no, that wouldn't have been a good look, especially with the Roddy stuff earlier.
Oh, yeah. True.
That's not a good look. I was going to say, oh yeah, like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Nope.
Yeah, nope.
Well, Jake has snakeskin boots, and I'm like, isn't that kind of wrong? Like, that's like when a zoo employee is wearing like leopard print. Like, I don't know. I just think it's wrong.
It is kind of odd, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do think it's funny how DiBiase and Virgil are holding up like fake money. Like, what are these? Are these like DiBiase dollars? Are these Biase bucks? Like, what are
Man,
these?
if it was 1990 and he was just throwing out Jeffrey dollars from Toys R Us, can you imagine?
Ooh.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Rest in peace, Jeffrey. We love you.
Yeah.
Okay. What is this hot dog joke between Gorilla and Jesse? Because it goes on the entire match about Gorilla eats a lot of hot dogs. Is it a Gorilla likes wiener joke? Like, I'm so confused.
I have no idea, but I was eventually like, get off of it.
I
My God. You know who else wants hot dogs? The crowd. Because
Probably.
At this point in the night, they are doing the wave.
Yeah.
All around the arena. You know who does the wave? People who are so bored that they say, I'm going to stand up and put my arms up. Okay. And then you do it. Okay. It's going to be so funny.
Exactly.
That's who does the wave.
I was thinking at graduations, the crowd does the wave. And then when we were waiting for Fantasmic to start at Disney's Hollywood Studios, everyone was doing the wave because we were waiting for something to start. So yeah, it's pretty bad if the wave is happening during a wrestling show.
And it's not that this was a bad match. You've just exhausted them. Yeah. Like they've seen it all. So the finish comes quickly as both guys are on the outside. Jake slams Ted. Ted rams Jake into the ring post, and then Virgil rolls Ted into the ring to beat the 10 count at the last second. Ted DiBiase wins the match via countout in 11 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah, and so like afterward, Jake Roberts, he's like giving seemingly real $100 bills like out to the members in the crowd. And I noticed he gave one to Mary Tyler Moore. And I was like, what the hell, Jake? Like, that woman is rich. Give it to somebody else. Like, I don't know. Maybe he was shooting a shot. Like, he put his phone number on it.
I wonder if we're in a time machine, then green shirt guy who's in the front row all the time now, if he would have gotten $100.
Oh, maybe. But it was funny because husband Mark had tuned in at this point and he made a joke. He's like, hey, look, it's Mary Tyler Moore, like thinking it was just a woman that looked like her. And then he goes, oh, shit, that's really Mary Tyler Moore. I was like, yeah.
That's funny. Well, Mean Gene's backstage with the big boss man who says he wouldn't take money from Ted DiBiase because he doesn't take money from anybody. He says, I may be poor, but I'm proud to be an American. We're in Canada. Let's go to the next match.
So we've got a singles match that once again, no stakes to it. And it is Akeem with Slick versus the Big Boss Man. We saw both these big boys last at the Royal Rumble in 1990. But hey, Big Boss Man's looking slimmer. He's a little more cut.
Oh, yeah. You can tell because the ring cart was hauling ass down to the ring all of a sudden. Like, oh, man, we thought he was going to weigh more than this. Turn it down. But who are these guys in tuxedos on the front row? They're like wearing Ultimate Warrior face paint, but they're in tuxedos. Like, are they Warriors' personal butlers or body oilers or teeth squeegeers or what?
I have no idea. I was wondering the same thing. I was like, did these guys just like dress up this way to come to the, I mean, everyone wears like tuxedos and stuff to UFC events. So I was like, is this, I don't know. But hey, I don't get why Akeem was chosen to be the sucky big man. Like Andre, Earthquake, Big Boss Man, they're all like the same size and they just like dominate everything they're in. But poor Akeem is made to look weak. And I'm like, maybe he's just a nice person.
Well, he spends so much time doing that thing with his hand, you know, that he forgets, oh yeah, I got to wrestle. But look at this groovy thing I can do with my hand. Look at it. Anyway, shenanigans ensue. Ted DiBiase apparently never left ringside after the last match. So he pops up out of nowhere and attacks Boss Man. After that, there's truly not much more to say about this match, is there?
No, Big Boss Man wins that thing in a minute and 50 seconds. Again, I don't know why this match needed to happen.
I don't either. I mean, I can kind of see it because like Boss Man is newly a good guy and okay, get the crowd behind him on a big scale like this, but oh, I'm getting worn out.
Oh, I'm worn out and I'm about to read a novel to you people.
Ugh.
So, Big Boss Man, he beats up Slick, even though Slick's begging for mercy, but not today, Slickster. I can't talk. Sean Mooney heads out to the crowd to talk to random children about rhythm and blues. You know, the tag team comprised of Honky Tonk Man and Greg, the Hammer Debbie Lynn Valentine. And the first kid's kind of hard to understand. Like, I think what he said was like that they can't sing or dance or do anything.
Yeah,
And like,
he was like, they can't sing and they can't dance and they can't do anything. Like,
yeah, and I was like, what? They finally talked to some girl who I could understand much better. She was a little more eloquent, but the kids don't even care about Rhythm Blues' new song. Like those little brats, they should care
right.
more. But Mary Tyler Moore states that wrestling is a great combo of athletics and theater, and she's never seen anything like it. And honestly, she's just adorable. But Sean asked her about rhythm and blues, and she totally lies and acts like she knows who that is.
Yeah, God bless Mary Tyler Moore because you could tell there's something in her brain going, oh my God, I have no idea. But she got through it.
I feel like she should have been Miss Elizabeth instead of Elizabeth. Oh man. Okay, y'all. It's time for that quote, like, why the hell was that on WrestleMania moment? End quote. Fink announces Rhythm and Blues. A pink Cadillac convertible emerges with Honky Tonk Man Debbie Lynn, who, again, has dyed the hair black, looks totally different. But also in the car, there are some 50s looking groupies, and I found out that they're known as the Honkettes.
Yes. That's my favorite hostess snack, actually. There's ding dongs, and then there's Twinkies, and then there's honkettes.
Well, I wonder if the guys go honk honk and honk their. Never mind.
Oh boy.
There is a very handsome young driver driving this Cadillac, Mr. Diamond Dallas Page.
The one and only.
Yeah, so supposedly he loaned this car to the WWF under the condition that he gets to drive it on TV. So my question is, was he already involved with the company before this, or was this kind of what got his foot in the door?
Not involved with the company. In fact, not really in wrestling. At this time, he was running a strip club down in Florida.
Oh.
I think it was in Florida. And in fact, the two honkettes, he brought them too, along with the Cadillac.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but you know, a lot of wrestlers like to go to the strip clubs after the shows. And so that was his foot in the door, is meeting these wrestlers and finally being like, hey, I want to get involved. I can talk a lot. I'm good at talking, because he would do like radio commercials for his strip club. And so his whole idea was, I'll become a manager. And so he made videos, sent them to Dusty Rhodes there in Florida. And that's how he got his start in the business.
That is super cool. And I was wondering, I was like, how does he have money to have this pink Cadillac just like sitting around? So that makes sense. Well, Jimmy Hart has their gold record on full display, in which Gorilla questions the validity. I get it, you know, but they all get in the ring to present their new song titled A Hunka Hunka Honky Love.
This is the guy you defend, by the way. Go on.
Oh boy. Okay, where to start? So the Honkettes are just awful. Like, it makes sense that they're strippers because they are so off key and not even on the right beat.
That's the whole reason Jimmy Hart was out there. Could you tell? Like,
no,
Jimmy Hart was out there singing with the Honkettes, trying to keep them on beat.
That's funny because I thought there was like a third voice in there. I was like, that one's better.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, Greg Debbie Lynn Valentine is strumming a guitar, which he obviously has no idea how to play. I don't think his mic was working.
That's okay.
Well, it's not, because Debbie Lynn needs her moment. But however, he is dressed up like Elvis, and with that black hair now, you know who he looks like. He looks like that drunk Elvis impersonator on the scooter that goes up and down the Vegas Strip, like verbally harassing people. Have you seen that guy?
Not seen this guy.
Okay, so I thought like only I'd seen him a couple times, but he gets posted in my like Vegas groups like from time to time. One time we were in that mall, I think it's the Crystal Shops that's like connected to the Aria, and it's
Yeah.
like me and Mom and Mark and Shannon, and we're just walking through, and he zooms by on a scooter and slaps Mom's butt and keeps
What?
going. Yes.
Where is
Yes.
this guy? I'm gonna go kick his ass right now.
I mean, he's in a scooter, so he might be able to get away from you pretty quick. But
Oh,
yeah, and he
that's all
just
right.
like drinks and like like roast people. That's his thing.
Mighty
Yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah. It's I like the buck in my cup guy way better. The put a buck in my cup, I will shut the fuck up. That guy, he's on the strip a lot and he's great. He's like, you don't gotta be a dollar, you just gotta give a dollar.
It's been a while since I haven't been to Las Vegas since I was a resident of Las Vegas, and maybe that's a good thing.
Right. Well, dang honky. Dang honky. I've been defending you this whole time. I really thought you'd be a better singer than that.
No,
Why is his thing a music thing when he can't sing?
that's what you get for thinking, Michelle.
Oh gosh. Well, when they are finished, the crowd boos them, of course, and Honky spots some guys selling something like down at ringside. But then he realizes who those pesky salesmen are. It's actually the Bushwhackers. Honky, I love you, but you needed the Bushwhackers to save this segment. The crowd, oh man. Bushwhackers music hits, they get up in the ring, chasing out rhythm and blues, and they walk around in circles. And of course, the crowd has come alive. They are doing the arms with them. And oh man, Bushwhackers even smashed their guitars. And like, I'm surprised they didn't bite the guitars or eat them or something. But fantastic ending to a very questionable moment. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
Honky, I normally support you, but ugh. So,
Ugh, that was a lot.
yeah, after all that, Fink announces the attendance record for that particular venue before we go on to the next match.
Oh my God, why does there have to be another match? It's a
Oh my
singles
God.
match. Jimmy Superfly Snuka versus Ravishing Rick Rude. Last saw these guys at Royal Rumble 1990. I swear, Rick Rude loses more body fat every time we see him. And it always looks
Yup.
like he has no more to lose. But I swear he loses more each time. But like, I don't look at him and think of steroids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Snuka, on the other hand, has to be a pincushion at this point.
No joke. Like, he is not human. He is so large. Like, you know what he looks like? And you probably won't get this reference, but hopefully some of my 90s kids, younger 90s generation will get it. There's an episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob's jealous of all the guys with muscles, so he buys these inflatable muscular arms and wears them around. That's what it looks like because it's so comically huge.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm like, is your heart okay?
Yeah, it is unreal. Like, it's cartoonish how he looks.
Oh, yeah. But oof, Rick Rude was taking some mega harsh bumps in this match. Ouch.
Yeah, all over the place. And every time you can tell that he wears undies in the tanning booth because his tan line is like right at the waistline of his tights. So he goes from like orange to vanilla very quickly.
Which I don't know why he would wear his undies in the tanning booth. Like, come on. Like, I mean,
I don't know.
So do you think that their like insane muscle mass affects their ability to wrestle?
I mean, it has to, right? I mean, not
Flexibility
only,
for sure.
yeah, flexibility, speed, probably.
Yeah.
It just, God, Snuka just looks ridiculous.
He does. Like, I'm concerned about him, but hey,
Yeah.
he is sporting a leopard print Speedo thing in Gorilla, not Jesse. Gorilla says, I like Jimmy Snuka because he's wearing my wife's underwear.
Well, how did Snuka get into Gorilla's bedroom to steal those? I don't even. Anyway, Rude hits the Rude Awakening for the pin, but Snuka gets up immediately after the 3 is counted, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Is that kind of like a diss towards Rick? I don't know. But Rick Rude wins the match in just under 4 minutes. And finally, we're here.
Oh, we're here.
We see a recap of Hogan and Warrior from the Royal Rumble and various TV shows along the way. Hogan saving Warrior, Warrior saving Hogan. Then we go back to the arena for what is thankfully the final match of the evening. Take us home, Michelle.
Okay, we've got a singles match for both the WWF Intercontinental and the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Hulk Hogan, who is our World Heavyweight Champion, versus Ultimate Warrior, who is the Intercontinental Champion. Ooh, we last saw these guys on Rumble in 1990, of course. Yeah, let's get into it.
Neither guy rode the cart to the ring. Did you see that?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Warrior ran down full steam ahead like he was on fire, of course. And Hogan walked down to the ring as well. I found that interesting.
It's probably because that dang ring cart ran out of gas because it's back and forth for like 14 matches.
Right.
It's probably what happened. Hey, man, someone in the crowd brought a life-size, like giant 6'5" Hulk Hogan cardboard cutout to hold in the air. Like, that's a bit much. I mean, I respect the commitment, but did he have to like buy that thing a seat?
Who would even, I wonder how quickly that went in the trash can after the show. He's like, I don't want to, I gotta take this back to the hotel and I'm done with it.
I mean, even if he was at home, he'd have to like put it in the front seat and put a seatbelt on it or something.
Right.
But
But he could get into the HOV lane that way. So that's cool.
ah, yeah. But hey, am I nuts? Or does Ultimate
Yes.
Warriors no, does the Ultimate Warriors hair look just like Aunt Carol's did in the 90s?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. Same color and everything.
Yeah. That tracks. Yeah. That tracks. uh, it's clear from the start here that the anticipation in the room was high. Like the crowd had been kind of dead for a little bit, but this got them up. They were waiting for this. And I think that these guys could get away with doing very little in the ring, and this match would be just fine. And they're going to prove me right here.
Yes, but oh my gosh, I talked about it earlier about the other moment you have to watch on this show. I just realized I had seen a clip from this show many, many times on the internet. It's dirty. Do you know which one I'm talking about? And would you like to describe it to our patrons?
Sure. Thank you for laying that responsibility on
You're
me.
welcome.
So Warrior and Hogan are doing the test of strength, right? Where they grab each other's hands and they're basically playing mercy. Hogan gets the upper hand, and that forces Warrior to be down on his knees. Warrior is selling the fact that this hurts, and the camera is behind Warrior while he's on his knees in front of a Hogan, and Warrior's head is at about crotch level while Hogan breathes hard and gently thrusts, and Warrior shakes his head like, yeah.
That's why you had to tell it.
So that's what happened.
Oh yeah, as soon as this match started, I was like, this is the one. Yes. Oh Jesus. Well, Jesse made a Richard Belzer joke at one point, and Mark was like, oh, and I had no idea who that was. So apparently it's like a comedian type host, and Hulk Hogan put him in a headlock and choked him out, and so he sued WWF.
Yeah. Basically, Hogan locked it in for real, not for long, but enough for Belzer to pass out live on the air.
Oh my gosh.
And he didn't know Belzer had passed out, so he let Belzer go. And Richard Belzer hit the back of his head on the floor of the stage, which busted him open and everything. And he ended up filing a lawsuit.
And I read that they financially settled it. Like they didn't go to court, but woo.
Yeah, you can find that clip on YouTube. It's very easy to find. And when his head hits the floor, it's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's bad. But speaking of injuries, Hogan is thrown out of the ring and has hurt his knee. Oh no. And he's telling the ref, oh, my knee's gone, brother. My knee's gone. But seconds later, he's in the ring running around with no issues. So either we witnessed a miracle on pay-per-view, or Hogan was lying and Hogan is a heel. You make the call.
Well, this match did make me realize I miss real countouts in modern day wrestling. Like, not only when they would actually like end the match in a countout, but also like refs actually count back then. It's not a 1, 10
Hmm.
seconds, 2, because at one point, one of them jumped out of the ring and was it Earl? Yeah, it was Earl Hebner. He was
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3. And I was like, I missed that.
Yeah. And that's how it should be. But, why would we enforce the rules, right?
Right. Well, hey, where did Ultimate Warrior's makeup go? Like, does it peel off? Is it like a sticker? Because it was just gone.
I know it's so weird. Like the face paint back then, I don't know what it was, but I would notice it on guys like the Road Warrior as well,
Hmm.
where it's like it would like peel off in chunks, like it was latex paint or something.
Maybe. I mean, I would think maybe it would be better with like sweat and stuff because if it's oily or greasy, like wet to the touch, because they, smudge up, it would just look really bad versus just disappearing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
Warrior gets Hogan in a bear hug. How
Ay,
many times have we seen Hogan in a bear hug on pay per view? I feel like it's a lot.
every
But,
time.
it's hard to make a bear hug look painful, like at all. It's one thing if it's like Miro and Marco Stunt,
Yeah.
but when it's two like regular sized guys, like if a dude is so beat up that a hug is painful, maybe stop hugging him and pin him.
I was questioning that too. I was like, are they just catching their breath? Because like it didn't even look like either one was squeezing. It literally looked like they were in
Yeah.
a loving embrace, just like resting on each other.
Yeah, it really sucked.
Well, another funny gorilla Jesse exchange. Hogan hit Warrior from behind, which is funny because I guess Warrior did the warming up
Oh
earlier.
no.
Wham,
Warrior
wham.
was Warrior was the fluffer. He's the ultimate fluffer.
Hey, oh gosh. So he hits him from behind. Gorilla says, right into the cervical vertebrae. And Jesse goes, no, Monsoon, it's the back. I just thought it was funny. So ref bump, Earl the ref was killing me laying on the ground for forever. Like I was
Mm,
yelling, "Get up and do your job, Earl," because he was down for way too long. I guess just to drag out the match, but it was driving me nuts.
yeah. No, it got pretty long there. The finish was pretty unexpected though. Hogan missed the leg drop, which at this point in the match was like, oh, what? And then Warrior quickly hit a splash off the ropes. And it was one of those like, wait, what is this? What is this? What is this moments?
Yep, and Ultimate Warrior won the match, retaining his Intercontinental Championship and becoming the new WWF World Heavyweight Champion in 22 minutes and 51 seconds. And while I enjoyed this match, I was expecting it to be a little bit more of a classic, like last week's Flair versus Lex Luger, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely not the same kind of match. Liked Flair Luger better, but hey, this was big. This was really big.
Yeah, it was. So afterward, the Ultimate Warrior's getting a grand celebration in the ring, and he even gets some pyro, but it's like early 90s pyro. And it's like if Orange Cassidy won a championship today and got pyro, like that's what it would look like because it was just kind of dinky compared to what we see now.
Yeah.
But Hogan gives Warrior the belt and raises Warrior's arm in victory. And I was just waiting for Hogan to attack because Hogan is a heel, but
Hmm.
he doesn't. So perhaps the Warriors and the Hulkamaniacs will unite? Maybe.
Maybe so. The Warrior
Hmm.
Maniacs.
The Hulka Warriors. That
Yeah.
kind of sounds like Honky's new song.
Yeah. Let's not do that. I don't
Honky.
ever want to be reminded of that again.
Me neither. And that's so sad because I love Honky. But anyway, Hogan rides back to the ring or back to the back in the ring cart, and Warrior and Hogan, they give each other a salute. And Gorilla tells us, good night, Justin Tate. What are your final thoughts on WrestleMania 6?
Well, it was long.
Yeah.
It had its moments. 90% of this pay-per-view didn't really feel like it needed to happen. I
Yeah.
mean, like outside of the 3 title matches, eh, I just don't. It's not the best Mania. I mean, the main event, that's a monumental moment, right? Warrior
Mhm.
beating Hogan for the title, something we haven't really seen much over the years. So that was huge in the
Yeah.
history of the business. But otherwise, I could skip this show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised Target made a WrestleMania 6 shirt out of all of
Yeah.
the WrestleManias. But no, I would think I would really enjoy a show like this because I like seeing lots of talent on one show and I like short matches. But it was just a lot. It really dragged on after a while. And yeah, the matches were short, but it just, from the backstage interview to the ring entrances to the match to the after, it adds a lot of time. Even for the 19-second heart match. So yeah, I thought it had good moments, but I also didn't know while I was watching this if it was just because I'm looking back because I didn't know if you were there present at the time, if loved Jimmy Snuka or someone. And I thought maybe it was just like, oh, I see them as mid card talent because I'm watching back. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
because I enjoy AEW pay-per-views that even have like 11 matches on them because I know all the talent and I've like feel like I've seen them grow up in AEW. But yeah, this one just didn't hit for me.
Yeah. And there's, I think it's not a fact of it's just an older show. Just the structure of it and the length of it just, I think, did more damage than good.
Yeah, I mean, that was the longest match, right? At 22 minutes. And I
Yeah.
think how many matches were there? 13, 14, something like that?
13, and there's only one other match that went over 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of it was very I do appreciate they tried to squeeze a lot of talent into one show for all those people to see live. I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. But watching back on TV, it was a lot. But
Yeah.
tell me what happened after this show, Justin.
Well, although he would stay with the company until August, this was the last WWF pay per view with Jesse Ventura on commentary.
No.
Yeah.
Ever?
Uh-huh.
Well, until like now.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I
Why?
think,
What happened?
well, there was a whole rivalry with Hogan over the fact that Jesse wanted to create a union and Hogan ratted him out to Vince.
Right.
And then just various other things. And Jesse decided to move along later on this year.
I quit this podcast. He gives me life. Oh,
Well, Demolition would actually start a heel turn as champions, but Axe decided to start stepping back from in-ring action. And this would lead to Demolition adding a third member named Crush. And he and Smash would be the primary defenders of the tag team championship. Brutus Beefcake continued his feud with Mr. Perfect until a parasailing accident in July took Brutus out of action for a year. And when I say an accident, his face was literally destroyed. Like
oh my
they had to
gosh.
rebuild his face.
In parasailing? Wow.
A woman was parasailing and landed near him and brought her knees up, and her knees smashed him in the face.
Oh my God. And he actually does make a comeback?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's insane. Speaking of Mr. Perfect, he would soon see championship gold since one person was not allowed to hold two singles titles at the same time in the WWF. A tournament was held to crown a new Intercontinental Champion. Mr. Perfect won that tournament by defeating Tito Santana in the finals. And Hulk Hogan. He began a feud with Earthquake, who would injure Hogan so badly that he had to take time off of TV. But in reality, Hogan was taking time off to film his next movie, Suburban Commando.
Do we have to watch that one?
No, thank
God.
God, no. And as for Ultimate Warrior, him winning the championship was seen as a passing of the torch of sorts. Hogan could somewhat read the tea leaves and see that he needed to do something. So Warrior would spend the summer feuding with Rick Rude over the WWF championship.
I just realized something, Justin.
What?
You told us last week at the very end when I said, "What are we talking about next week?" You talked about a certain WWF legend leaving. And I
Mhm.
just realized you were talking about Jesse, and that makes me so sad.
That's not who I was talking about.
What the hell, Justin? Who were you
Let,
talking about?
let's get into some wrestle stats.
What the hell? Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Oh,
It's the
wait. We need a
final.
sound cue.
Oh,
Wrestle stats.
Okay, now you
okay.
can go.
Okay. It's the final pay-per-view appearance of Andre the Giant. We have seen his last pay-per-view match. He leaves us with a record of 4 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw. We might see Andre pop up in an appearance again. But as far as a match, that's it.
I'm surprised he lost so many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also the final pay-per-view appearance, we talked about earlier, but we'll never see Sapphire in a match again. Of course, she leaves us with a record of 1-0-0. Most matches, well, that ticked up this week because Randy Savage holds on to his crown. He now has 20 matches that we've watched on Wrestle Recap, but the most losses, we have a new leader, unfortunately. With 10 losses, Tito Santana now leads the loss leaderboard. Poor Tito. Poor Tito. There were no rematches on this show, so that percentage went down. Only 16 rematches out of 255 total matches, and title match percentage went down because there was only 3 on this show. That's down to 31.76%. You like those stats? There's a lot more where that came from over at WrestleStats.com and at WrestleStats on X, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Instagram. Michelle, what you got?
Yo, you can reach out to us at Wrestle Recap. You can, if you want to talk about the podcast, ask me or Justin a question, talk sibling stuff, do that. Or if you just want to reach out to me, you can hit me up at Michelle Tater. You can follow me. I tweet a lot of stuff about nostalgia, dogs. I don't talk about politics, so there you go. I'm a very refreshing account these days. But Justin, what do we got next week? And don't tell me someone's leaving again because it upsets me.
Next week, WCW Capital Combat. Michelle, you've said it before. You love the stupid shit. You want the stupid shit era. You are going to get the stupidest shit era next week.
Hell yeah. I'm going to start a chant. Stupid shit. Stupid shit.